Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Anurag Bhalla, co-founder of Outsized. Outsized, for those that aren't already aware, is a professional freelance marketplace that brings together large enterprises and high-quality independent talent across Asia and Africa. We have an awesome panel who bring with them a diverse set of experiences from global MNCs, big consulting, and big tech. We'll kick off with our first section of the agenda, which is really all about how the relationship between individuals and their employers is changing and what is really driving that change.
People, talent organizations continue to, be very agile. And I think this element around meeting people where they are at the moment becomes very important so that we continue to create, a culture and a workspace that allows us, not only to achieve business demands, but also personal demands.
Is it a different, from a consulting sector, is it a different expectation, a different demand that you're seeing? What's changing in the consulting space that may be different?
Yeah, so we are definitely seeing that COVID taught people things they didn't think was possible are completely possible. So the whole pushback around, there's no way we could do consultancy without being on our client sites. We know that's completely not true anymore. We can definitely deliver. Being a bit more honest with us about what they're coming into consulting for. So actually having an open dialogue with us, I'm only here for 3 years, what you're going to give me, which we never used to see before. What we're definitely seeing at the moment is a generational shift of people who are much more open to being honest about their longer term intentional career path.
We mentioned some of the generational differences, which I think are real and not understated, certainly vis-a-vis just the size, for instance, of Gen Z, as well as the fact that Gen Z is working with millennials and with Gen X and sometimes with boomers, right? So 3 to 4 generations per office sometimes. And oftentimes those Gen Xers are the bosses, right? And the younger folks that they're managing have very different, very real values, work values, I think, than many of us. I'm a Gen X.
Have you seen a change in the emotional relationship between an organization and an employee?
Money isn't the only thing that people want anymore. I think they actually want more from their organizations than what they used to. So if anything, it's become, in my experience, a much deeper connection. And you have to do that to keep people. Otherwise, they're just going to go and follow the money.
There's a lot more ambition around learning and feedback, right? They crave knowing how they're doing, not to wait, once a year, twice a year.
What are some of the new playbooks, the new things you're trying, new models you're trying to experiment with, try and meet those changing expectations of both the business and talent market?
I think the playbooks for us have been like, how can we get ahead of the problem? So how can we think about our partnerships in the business? Really had to think differently about how I engage other areas of the business to help me solve my problems.
I would say the questions I would pose, to myself and the team is really, do we have the right talent and do we have the right capabilities? And if not, what is your buy, build, I'd say borrow strategy, Because sometimes you might need to borrow some resources somewhere in order to build that capability.
What do you see as being some of the big themes a talent leader is currently trying to grapple with?
My question is to them in terms of navigating the tensions we're trying to back is, what is the clarity that you're providing in terms of flexibility that you offer, purpose that you offer, learning that you offer, story that you offer, empathy that you offer, clarity of performance? And so just trying to balance out some of the asks.
What's the view there in terms of how you mitigate some of the risk, especially within potentially business, say risk compliance teams that are looking at this and saying, well, how are we controlling this new model?
So a lot of the risk factors maybe go back to the fundamentals of, it's not how you behave or act when somebody's watching. It's really when somebody's not watching and what do you do?
The biggest thing that moved the dial for us was to start treating our agile hires as permanent hires and starting early. So the one thing we could control is building talent pools and having access to people much, much earlier.
Whether it's contractor or engagement, they also represent, our company at this moment in time. So it's very difficult not to engage them in a way that, when they also go out and represent the work that they're doing, There is a Manulife, or there is a Deloitte, there is a other company that they're known to be working for.
Ask for help. I think that's the big thing. I think as leaders, we don't often ask for help because it sits on our plate. What we should be doing is really sort of thinking about who can support us on the journey, both internally, externally, and how we think about our partners. And that's not just partners in a contingent sort of base, but those businesses we can partner with who at scale can provide us with what we need. So developers, for example, can we go and find a partner with that?